Okay, so this is a compilation of 5 previous videos, but these were all in the exact same training session. So this is a complete, full training session that I put David through that is going to consist of different shooting and different finishing at the rim. So if you are looking for a complete workout, this is what you're looking for right here. So let's get down and let's check out what David did to be able to improve to a level that allows him to be able to play at the prep high school level this year.
In this first drill, it is dribble, handoff, floaters. What we are looking to do is to do a dribble handoff and then go in either with a dribble or without a dribble for a floater. Now, you can do this at your own pace, or you can do this sprinting as well. These are all things that you're going to be doing in game most likely as well. A lot of teams are running more and more dribble handoffs, so you might as well get used to finishing with a floater or even a layup at the rim if you wanted to add that in after a dribble handoff. Next is the low gather. The low gather is a very important move to be able to do. So the idea is, while most coaches will say, oh, bring the ball nice and high, which is true, you want to bring the ball nice and high so that the referees are able to see arm contact for players who are trying to foul you. However, having a low gather, the straight arms, and keeping the ball away from your body nice and low will keep that ball away from reaching hands, but also still allow the referee to be able to see reaches onto your arms. And what I'm doing right here with that pad is just hitting the arms just softly at first, and eventually I go harder and harder on the arms, mainly because you're going to have people reaching in and trying to disrupt what you are trying to do, and you still need to fight through that to be able to finish at the rim. And one of these pads is nice to be able to do that with, because then you are not actually harming the player. And then we have the high gather, which is what most coaches want you to do. And the idea behind the low or the high gather is to keep that ball nice and high and to try and keep that ball above your head the whole time, not bring it back down to your waist, as David does in a few of these clips. Now, what you need to be able to do also is to have a nice hard pound dribble right before you bring that ball up over your head. The idea behind the hard pound dribble is to be able to get that ball nice and high as fast as possible. Now what we are doing is some body contact while attacking the rim. And what we are wanting to do is have the offensive player make contact with me, who has the pad. And the idea here is, when you are attacking the rim, you want to make contact with the defender first. The reason why you want to do that is if the defender hits you first, makes contact with you, the offensive player, you are going to be at the disadvantage. But if you hit the defensive player first yourself, then the defender is going to be on his heels and at the disadvantage to you. Remember, if the defense is moving and you hit them, it's a foul on them. But if they're planted on the ground and they own the land that they're on, if you make contact with them at that point, it's a foul on you. So that's the fine line that you have to play when doing this strategy. If you're a basketball player, make sure to go check out my vertical jump training book that is down in the description below if you are looking to be able to dunk the ball. This first drill, we're going to have David dribble up and then take his first step into the pad, and then that's a veer step, by the way, and then a second step away from the pad because he's created that space. The idea here is, by getting that contact early with your first step that you take on your two-step layup, that second step will allow you to create the gap between yourself and the defender, which will allow you to get yourself an easy layup. You can do this with a hop step too. We're going to see that later on. However, this is a fantastic move that you can do in game. It's called a veer step. Try it in practice first before you do it in game. This next move is very similar to the last. However, the idea here is to be able to either pull up for a jump shot after you make that contact, or attack the basket almost as a hesitation and then you're going to be very successful. This is a fantastic move. You either make that contact and then take a sidestep off of that contact to create that shot, or you create that contact, do a quick sidestep, keep your dribble alive, and attack the basket. This is a fantastic combination that you can do, and it's basically 2 moves in one. It's basically reading the defense and then reacting to how they're defending you after that contact. Now here you don't have to do the crossover first before you make the contact. This is just me adding in extra stuff for David to do to work on his handles. However, the idea here is for us to be able to make that contact by doing a hop step or a jump stop into your defender to create that contact first. That's extremely important to be able to do, and we all need to do that as players ourselves. Now, the next step to this move is to make that contact with that hop step or that jump stop, and then jumping away from that defender while you're going for that layup. And how you're going to generally do this, it's not always going to work like this, but you're going to land on your inside foot to the defender first. And then that's going to allow you to have momentum to push off back towards the rim so that now you've created that contact. You've got the defender back onto his heels, and with your momentum pushing you back towards the basket, you're going to create yourself a gap, which is going to allow you to score much easier. And now for the best part, and that is when you come to a jump stop. You can also do this off of 1 foot as well, but when you come to a jump stop here, you're going to then throw your body at the defender and reach out with your opposite arm away from that defender to be able to create that contact, but then be able to reach out and then still make that layup. You can also have this with the inside hand to the defender too, depending on the size of that defender and depending on how that defender is defending you. However, you can get yourself an and one basket, having that inside hand when you're jumping into that defender. Just make sure not to get blocked and have no foul call. And the idea here, doing it in practice, is so that you can become stronger so that when it comes to a game, you're going to be able to do it much easier. What we have is David. He is sprinting from almost half court down towards the wing. He's receiving the ball and shooting right away. What this is essentially doing is this is allowing him to be able to improve his shot and practice his shot while he is on the run. Being able to do a quick catch and shoot is a very important skill to be able to have if you are a basketball player. Going along with the theme of being able to catch and shoot on the run, this is a cut that happens a lot in the game of basketball. Going from the corner to the wing is a cut that happens quite often in basketball, and we need to be able to learn how to shoot off of these different paths, off of these different cuts that we make in game. Now, being able to shoot off of a dribble handoff or even after a screen is another important thing you need to be able to do in basketball. And this is just a quick drill that you can run with a partner or a couple of friends where you can get a couple of 8 to 10 shots off very quickly. And what this is going to be able to help you with is the ability to take that ball, take a dribble or even no dribble, take 2 big steps, or 1 big step depending on how you catch it, and then being able to pull for that shot as fast as possible. The dribble handoff is something that happens a lot in basketball. Depending on your team, you may be running a dribble handoff more often than not. And when this happens, you need to be able to know how to shoot off of that catch, because of course, if your defender goes over top of the screen or underneath the screen, depending on the situation, you need to know how you are able to shoot and, of course, practice the same movements, the same footwork as if you were in game. Next is being able to shoot off of the dribble, but at the same time after contact. Being able to absorb contact or use contact to your advantage, and then being able to transfer that energy into a jump shot or just staying in control of your body, being able to shoot after making contact with a defender is a very important skill to be able to have. And you can do this with or without a pad. You don't necessarily need to have one of these defense pads to be able to do this type of drill. You can have a random friend or coach who just stands there and pushes back against you when you are doing different moves while you are making contact with them. Now, being able to shoot off the dribble is very important as well, and obviously we are not going to be just taking one single dribble and going up for a shot. That rarely happens in a game of basketball. You're generally going to be taking a shot after a crossover or some kind of a sidestep. So that is exactly what we are working on here, and this is something that you can do as well by yourself. You don't necessarily need to have a coach or a trainer to do this drill, or even a friend. You can just do this drill by yourself. In this first drill, what we have is we're going to start roughly in that 30-foot range area, just outside of the 3-point line. We're then going to attack hard towards a defender, which is myself, and you really want to do this right. This is not just a simple spin move. You want to try and time the dribble to that last step before you go for that spin. So the foot that turns into your pivot foot, that is where you want to take your last dribble. Because if you can time that perfectly, if you bounce the ball too early, it's a travel. If you bounce it too late, it's a steal. You have to bounce that ball as soon as you take that step, and that will allow you to be able to create that spin move. And by making contact with your defender first, that'll create the gap that you need to be able to get this shot off. This next drill is a continuation of the exact same thing as what we just did, except now, after we do this quick spin, we take an extra dribble, and then we are able to do a step back or a side step out away from that defender. This is extremely important if you are looking to be able to create even more space between yourself and the defender. Just make sure that you're taking 2 steps and not 3, because that is going to get you a travel call if you take too many steps. Now, because we were getting into the side step, this is actually a very deadly move to get into, because by doing a quick side step, you are now gauging how far your defender is going to then glide along with you. Now, if he gives you space, you can pull for that shot. But now, here are some counter moves that are fantastic to use too. Now, after you do that side step out, if the defender gives you a hole, you can attack. For example, here, David is attacking that left side 1 dribble and going up for that floater. This is a great option to do, especially if you get faced with a help defender and you just need to get that shot off as fast as possible. Just in game, make sure to crash the boards. Now, when you're sidestepping or gliding out, basically you can attack that left side once again. But now, if the defender is expecting you to go for that floater or attacking the rim, you can now go for that side step out. And now you have multiple different options off of this same exact start that we initially did. Now, this is just another addition once again. Now, when you go and attack that basket, you can cross over back, try and get in front of your defender who is now hopefully trailing you, and then finish at the rim. This is a fantastic drill to use because, of course, it's going to help you with your handles, but it's also a great, fantastic option in game as well. And in this last drill, we are just working on some quick footwork when it comes to being able to go for that quick glide cross out or glide out, and then a quick either side step or step back out away from that defender, or attacking the rim afterwards after taking that slight half-pound dribble. It's kind of an interesting dribble to be able to do, to pound it first on that first step and then being able to attack that basket. That pound is actually quite important because that is going to allow you to get that basketball back up into your hands when you are attacking the basket. One-on-one games are actually very important, and there are a few different ways that you can run them. You can do the basic one-on-one games, or you can do what I like to do, which is giving them a situation and having them use it. So, for example, in this drill, it is a dribble handoff drill. You've got an offensive player and a defensive player, And basically what you do is the offensive player receives that pass or receives that handoff, and then he has to be able to read and react to the defender, whether he goes under the dribble handoff or over, or maybe he's denying it. So you got to be able to read this and make an informed decision on what your next move is. So one of the best options that you can do with a dribble handoff is, of course, cutting backdoor, especially if that defensive player makes a mistake. He turns his shoulders away from you, as Erdy did right here, or if the player overplays your ability to get to that screen. So for example here, Erdy was slightly overplaying and David was able to make him pay. Now in this next clip, David uses that dribble handoff. Erdy follows him over that screen. David originally put him in jail behind him, but then Erdy was able to get back in front. Now, this gave David a couple of different decisions that he had to make, and what he did was he did a quick hesitation, which then got Erdy frozen so that he was able to then take the one dribble to get past Erdy. Now, being able to make these decisions in-game are not always going to be the easiest things to do, but if you can practice them against a one-on-one defender, you are going to be a little bit more successful when it comes to an in-game situation. Now, this next option is going to be if your defender goes underneath that screen, especially if his hands are down, you need to be able to pull for that shot. Now, of course, there's going to be different types of defenses, especially when it comes to the man who's setting that dribble handoff. His defender may hedge, his defender may do drop coverage. There may be a whole bunch of different options that other defender is going to give you, but with just the basics of going one-on-one, you're going to understand that, hey, if I'm going to have potentially this opening to be able to shoot if this man goes underneath the screen, or I'm going to have this opportunity to drive if this guy goes over top of the screen, and then you can react to at least one defender, and now when you get to add extra defenders, you're going to learn how to make extra and new reads. Now, if you have a defender that goes underneath that screen and you don't pull for that shot, sometimes you have in your mind that you want to attack that defender, maybe because you're faster or his hands are down or whatever it may be. You need to be able to make that decision fast, and you need to be able to get to that rim with the fewest amount of dribbles possible. So here it was 3 dribbles to be able to get to the rim. You always want to try and limit your dribbles to less than 3 when you are attacking inside of that 3-point line. So here we have 1, 2, and 3 dribbles to be able to get past Erdy and finish at the rim. I hope that this one-on-one basketball drill helps your players win more games, and I hope that with them being able to learn how to read defenses and to be able to see what defenses are giving them, that your players will become better basketball players and better at scoring the ball in game as well.
One of the most important things in basketball outside of defense is being able to score. If you cannot score, then you're going to lose. You always have to outscore the other team to be able to win. And to do that, you need to be able to be a 3-level scorer. You need to be able to get to the rim. You need to be able to get to the mid-range area and pull up for a shot. And you need to be able to hit the 3. You need to be able to do this off of a dribble handoff, as we see right here. And you need to be able to do this off of the dribble, as what we were working on. And you need to be able to create contact first. These are all things that you need to learn and players need to do if they are looking to become a deadly scorer. So good job to David in this video, and also congrats to David on making a prep team, and keep on working hard. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe everybody, and if everyone wants to be able to shoot the ball from further away, make sure to go check out my shooting workout that is down in the description below.